Little sister, I see you staring at the K-pop videos, practicing the moves. Your hips swing, heels groove, but when their eyes flare, yours can't follow. And I'm sorry, but I couldn't help but notice you swallow the disappointment. And I hope you know you need no BB cream ointment, no mascara halos to make your face glow. No, angels aren't defined by the radius around their pupils. Little sisters, I've seen you laughing at jokes about Asians' poor vertical vision. Your smile was nervous, lacking purpose, hiding curses behind derision. Thinking if you are in on the joke, you won't be cast out by it. But I've had to learn that it's not worth the buying. If what I'm buying is so biased, it defines the lines of my eyes as non-compliant. And I've seen you crying in frustration that your eyes are in syndication. 24 with an nation, your biggest figures, teenagers, so you curse genetic makeup and replace it with foundation when that makeup couldn't make 1/10 of what our parents gave us. Little sisters, I've seen the ads from New York to Hong Kong, carnival mirror images of women to become. They call you plain if you don't dress up. If you do, they label fake. Out of exotic geisha with on student brain and freedom from your baggage feels an awful lot like shame. One thing I've learned in lose-lose situations, you only win the game by never playing. So why play? It never stops, demands from others, always keep coming around. If you're slim, they call you skinny. If you're not, they count the pounds. But opinions only matter if you value what they hold and all that money. And attention weighs nothing, it's to your soul. That's worth more than MasterCard, surgery, and soul. I've seen you shine. When you do, you get more bright than grandma's gold. You got a goal that you can hit that no one else could ever do. When you're in your element, no irony can tarnish you. So shout outs to my sisters whose vision don't need description, who knows your confidence isn't based on male ambition or the gaze of being eyes who want to chisel yours away. Because I see little sisters, but more important, you see your own face. Yeah. What's up, guys? How you doing? Thank you. That's kind of you. My name is Jason Chu. I'm a hip-hop artist, I'm a poet, I'm an activist. But most important, today I'm here as a friend, as a supporter of Girls Fly. Can we applaud for Girls Fly? Yeah, I'm extremely excited to be here because we're here celebrating. We're here celebrating, but we're not just here celebrating. We're here committing. We're here committing to a partnership. We're here committing to work. We're here committing to a direction of where we believe that the world needs to go. And for that reason, I'm extremely excited to be here. We're here celebrating Girls Fly, which, as many of you know, but some of you may not, but I'm guessing you know, Girls Fly is an extremely committed organization, committed to connecting young women, especially those who may not have certain opportunities, with infrastructure, right? This isn't just acknowledging a problem. Acknowledging a problem is important, but Girls Fly takes a step beyond. It connects young women with the resources and with the opportunities that they need to actually take steps out into society, to go into those places that society often ignores, and to get the opportunities to become the people that society often tells you, whether explicitly or implicitly, you're not allowed to be. Girls Fly says, no, you can be there. You should be there. The founder, Gael Sylvia, is an extremely good friend of mine. She's here in the audience today, imagine that. And you'll be hearing from her further. But I think the incredible thing is that Girls Fly puts its money where its mouth is. It's connecting these young women, not just with ideas and visions, but with other professional women who are leaders in their field. It's showing young women a concrete vision of what it can look like to go out and to excel. And I think for that reason, or it's for that reason, that President and Michelle Obama have recognized Girls Fly. And that's what we're here to celebrate. We're here to celebrate this partnership between the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for African Americans, partnering with Girls Fly, partnering with Pitzer College in order to commit to our young women and to commit to creating a future where they are allowed to fly out. Let's applaud for that. And I think it's extremely suitable that it's Pitzer College that's hosting us today. The president, Dr. Melvin Oliver, is a man who's committed his career to making sure that marginalized voices are recognized, marginalized stories are told. Throughout his career, especially with his work at UC Santa Barbara, where he was an ally to Chicano voices, an ally to black men and women, and he helped create the Feminist Center. He is a man who's done this work, and it's for that reason that Pitzer College is here with the vision and the direction that they're setting in this year and in the years to come. So at this point, I would like to welcome the president of Pitzer College, Dr. Melvin Oliver, up to deliver his remarks.
Well, thank you for that introduction, but also thank you for the way you set the tone with your wonderful cultural contribution. I want to say thank you to all of you who are here. This is one of those opportunities for Pitzer College to celebrate not only what we always celebrate, which is the kind of push, the advancement of others so that they can be socially responsible contributors to society, but we want to really take this opportunity to honor and acknowledge our alum, Gael Sylvia Pullen. You know, we talk a lot at Pitzer College about creating in our education socially responsible citizens. And part of being that is not just to be about you, but to take that and to project it into others. And this event today shows just how strongly one person can project their ambition, their sense of what matters in the world to others. And Gail's founding and Gail's support of Girls Fly. And we want to really say thank you for contributing that spirit and keeping it alive. And that's what makes Pitzer College such a special place, in that we not only have Gail, but we have thousands of other Pitzer alumni who project that into the world. So I want to welcome you to Pitzer. I want to acknowledge one of our trustees, Ruette Foster. I also want to acknowledge Rhonda Foster, who is on our alumni board. And once again, I want to welcome you all to Pitzer. I know this is a very wonderful time for all the honorees from Girls Fly. I want to congratulate you in advance. And I also want to say thank you for coming. And we are with you, Gail. We honor you, and we are so proud of you. Thank you.
President Oliver, thank you so much for your words. So I wasn't fortunate enough to go to Pitzer College. I graduated from a small liberal arts school, Yale, which is also known as the Pitzer of New Haven. So, you know, to be at this podium, it's a big deal for me, sir. But one thing, I'm a hip hop artist now. I've been a scholar, I've been an academic, I've worked in nonprofit. The one thing that I am very sure of is that this is how change is made. Change is not just made by scholars. Change is not just made by artists. Change is not just made by politicians. Change is made when we come together. And for that reason, I think it's really, really meaningful that we're following up the president of this esteemed institution with some words from some of the young ladies from the Girls Fly program, because this is how change is made. It's made in these hallowed halls. It's made out there on the streets as we go about our daily lives. So at this point, I would like to welcome up representatives from Girls Fly to share about their stories. A round of applause, please.
This is Althea Graham, and I want to also thank all of you for being here this morning, but I have some more comments. But I think it's very important for us to hear directly from the girls and the beneficiaries of why we do what we do. And I really want to thank you for being here. Grace Yoshimoto, can you please stand? It's leadership in the community. Thank you. Grace is a guidance counselor at Monrovia High School and has been for 30 years. And through those 30 years has seen the evolution of what society is, the message that's being sent to girls. And it's not always a healthy one. So she's able to recognize and pull from within them something that they may not see or hear themselves. And she's been using the Girls Fly experience as a way to do that. She also created, much to our surprise and honor, the first Girls Fly College Scholarship associated with Monrovia High School. So there are people in this room, and I believe also representative of the broader world, who go extra steps to make sure that President Oliver, what you just shared, actually is a reality. So I'm going to ask you to say a few words, okay? And share your story.
Hello, I'm Althea. I recently graduated from Monrovia High School. Girls Fly has really made an impact on my life, especially my senior year of high school. I moved to California with my grandmother. She was my guardian, and throughout my life, I've been knocked down a lot. And every time from a young age, I learned to get back up again every time you're knocked down. And each time I would get back up again, it seemed like it was harder than the previous times I've gotten up. And at one point, I didn't want to get up anymore. I didn't want to bounce back up from challenges that were thrown my way. And it took a lot of time for me to resolve a lot of issues and to forgive a lot of people, forgive myself. And that's when I moved to California, and I went to Monrovia High School, and I tried to build a better life for myself. And then all of a sudden, my grandmother passed away, and once again, I was knocked down. But the difference that time was that I had people there for me. Girls Fly was there for me. Miss Yoshimoto was there for me, not just as my guidance counselor at school, but also as a friend. And I feel like Girls Fly building unity and an alliance among, regardless of whether it's just girls at a high school or just all of us as a whole, to be there for people, for each other, because when you get knocked down, it's good to know that you're not getting up alone. If you need the support or not, it's so important to know that it's there for you. And I feel like that's what Girls Fly did for me. And I would like to thank Gail and Miss Yoshimoto and everyone who has helped me become a part of the program I didn't know that the program existed until it was presented to me by Miss Yoshimoto, and that it was there for me when I needed someone, when I needed anyone. That's really important. So I guess I just want to thank everybody thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you.
Althea, thank you so much for speaking. Yeah, you know, my sister, actually, she's a computer scientist. And I've been learning recently, I've been listening to her a lot, and I've been realizing that I have no idea what it's like to be a woman. Which sounds hilarious until you realize that that's where so much comes from, right? Because so many of us don't know what your life is. And the fact that you're out here, you're standing here, you're sharing your life with us, that's beautiful. Thank you. So at this point, We've got some very special guests in the house. I mean, you guys know that already. You're here. Beyond you, we've got some other folks in the house. And at this point, the city of Claremont has sent a representative, Councilmember Corey Kalaikai. He's here to present a certificate and to commemorate what's going on and to offer a few words on behalf of the city of Claremont. So guys, please put your hands together for Councilmember Kalaikai.
Well, Ms. Pullen, President Oliver, distinguished members of the Pitzer College community, friends and guests, good morning. It is indeed an honor for me to be here on behalf of our entire City Council, our Mayor Sam Pedrosa, Mayor Pro Tem Larry Schrader, and Councilmember Joe Lyons and Apani Nasiali. And I would like to thank Pitzer College for the kind invitation to join today in this recognition of Girls Fly and its important mission and its great accomplishments in making our world a better place. You know, I know a lot of folks were very disappointed that the glass ceiling was not broken relative to the presidency. And I think it's appropriate for me to share with you at this time that in the case of our city, we did break the glass ceiling relative to the recent appointment of our first ever woman police chief, Shelley Vanderveen. Thank you. We have another department head in our city who's a key leader in our community, and actually I'm told she's an alumna of Pitzer College, Dr. Ann Turner, who heads our Human Services Department and works very hard to provide great services for our seniors and youth, and something that I know is very near and dear to the students here at Pitzer College. She works very hard to promote programs to help services for homeless. And so hopefully some of you students who may not know her will come to know her and can connect with her and see how you might be able to partner with her to help our homeless population here in the Claremont area. So I just want to share that information with you, that these are things that we as a city also take very seriously. And so we honor you as you celebrate the great work of Ms. Pullen today, and it is my great honor. Gail, if you'd please come forward, I have this certificate from our entire City Council. As an alumna and honored guest of Pitzer College and Girls Fly, and as Girls Fly founder, we welcome your visit and send you warm greetings from the Claremont community on the occasion of your appointment by the White House as an American representative on International Day of the Girl 2017. And we just thank you so much for what you're doing. We have, unfortunately, so many things in our society right now that divide us, that discourage us, and we need more people like you in our society to encourage us, to inspire us, to pull everyone up. And so thank you so much for your efforts in working hard to do that here in our community. Thank you so much.
A lady that needs no introduction, but I'll still give her one. Gael Sylvia has been a friend of mine. We met at the White House a couple years ago, and ever since I've known her as a tireless advocate of marginalized communities, of women, of the voices of people who need to be heard and are often overlooked. So I think it's apt that we close out with some closing remarks by the lady herself, Ms. Gael Sylvia Pullen.
I just need to check to see if Mark is in the room. He's not here. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. I want to thank him. I'm hoping that he's all right. That's my husband. And we were not too far behind one another. So there are some other people, too, that I'd like to just thank right at the top. We have some Girls Fly supporters who have been in the trenches with me for many years now, when no one else could necessarily see or understand the vision of what was on my heart and that had been given to me. And I really need to publicly acknowledge them and thank them for their support. There's Fred and Irene Kawashima. If you would please just raise your hand or stand. I knew that'd be it. just a raise on our board. And there are a number of other people. Amy Kato is another. And I'm just going to, Amy. President Oliver, Mrs. Oliver, Team Oliver, thank you again so much for today and taking the time to pause and acknowledge the power of partnerships at every level and our shared united efforts to make change, sustainable change that's a part of our legacy and our generation, and to do it in a way that is our way. It doesn't necessarily have to be the familiar way either, but it still gets done. And I think that what Pitzer College has offered here for these many years and that has come forth with me through my life is reflected as well in Girls Fly. Throughout, Althea made reference to ups and downs and getting knocked down and getting up again. I think that those are, just like moments like now, can be milestones that are markers for us. Sometimes they're indications that we're actually heading the right direction if we don't pause and stay down. So I do applaud you, Althea, and everyone else for each time you get up. But most importantly, those of us who reach out our hand and extend a part of our hearts in order to make that happen on behalf of others. I'm looking at the student leaders here at Pitzer, and as I was listening to the first parts of our continuing conversation around why you lead and how you stay connected to the voices that you are there to represent, I think it carries out and will carry out into the rest of the world. That we're always having to go back and recalibrate our perspective and our experiences within a new context. And it's the new context that comes from new relationships and also other people's journeys. The tragedies that happen, such as those with Ruin and Rhonda Foster, that have led to now you're in leadership here, not only at Pitzer, but in the community, are a reflection of why I'm even here today in this room. Had it not been for you and Susan Dawkins and other alum that just kept trying to get me to reconnect with Pitzer after 40 years, and your own story of perseverance, and in the face of tragedy, you still had a heart and a place for others in order to turn that into something good. So I thank all of you. I thank the three of you in particular. I need to share a couple stories because I think the most obvious question that probably has not been answered is, what is Girls Fly? And how did it begin? And Girls Fly is actually my life on steroids compact into one day domestically and multiple days when we do it internationally. It's a way to create a safe space for women and girls not only to believe in the necessity of their dreams and to turn up the volume on those voices that want to pull them and drive them in a certain direction called passion, that calls their heart, and then trying to reconcile that with the practicalities of livelihood and adulthood, how to bring those two together. So we bring together actual support, and that's why the significance of being here at Pitzer today. That's why the significance of the relationship with the White House, in order to reaffirm the value and the necessity of girls believing in that voice within. That girl voice that's within actually caught my attention when I took a group of women or young ladies, or the full gamut, from ages 8 to 65, out to dinner one night in Tucson. And it was for a sushi scavenger hunt. We had 5 restaurants on the progressive menu, schedule that night. And besides me, I was the only common denominator between all of these young ladies and older women. And by the time we got to the second restaurant, I had noticed that they had started pairing off. And they were starting to relax in their conversation and open up. And I asked Miriam Diodati, who was 15 at the time, what she dreamed of doing. And there was this very familiar response, just an expression. I think too often there's a tendency to ignore those moments. And so rather than ignore it, I addressed it. And I said, no, tell us, it's okay. The expression looked like she was afraid of being ridiculed if the strangers in the environment weren't receptive to her dream. She looked like she was afraid of experiencing, probably once again, being put down for it as being too lofty. And so because of the nature of the relationships in the room, everyone else around the table said, tell us. There was this very, like, it's okay, tell us. And she said that she dreamed of writing children's books. And then she has 6 sisters. So I asked her what she and her 6 sisters do. And she said, well, and everybody's like, tell us, we want to know. We want to know. She said that they like to sing. And that most people her age at 15 weren't even familiar with the songs that they enjoyed singing, the Andrews Sisters. When another young lady at the table said that she sang in a local choir, the Tucson Girls Choir, do you know Chattanooga Choo Choo? Yes, I do. What part do you sing? Oh, I sing this part. They burst out into song in the middle of this Japanese restaurant. And everyone goes quiet. Waitresses are mid-motion with their... And at the end, everyone's applauding. They're applauding her voice, they're applauding her dream, and they're applauding her. And reaffirming that there are people and there are places and times in the least expected places where people do believe. So for every no and every knockdown, there are probably at least 100 others that are saying yes and more. And that's the significance of the White House relationship, that even at the highest level in our U.S. government, and we do work with first ladies in other countries as well, there are human beings who believe in the voice, that voice within, and getting it to come forth and then doing it in unison. What else we also experienced that night was that by the time we got to the 28-year-old, she was hesitant to answer, but for a different reason. She was burdened down by the responsibilities of adulthood and trying to find her way, but she thought she was in her dream job. So trying to make that connection again between career and passion. She felt like she was losing her identity, and she didn't know how to reconcile the two. In her case, the dream job was a dream career come true. So Girls Fly is not a career day. It is a place and a space where we bring mentors together at their businesses that were once their dream, but they're now earning their livelihood from it. So whether it's aviation and they're pilots, or they build planes, we get the women and girls to those experiences. If it's an equestrian, arts, or athletic, and then we break it out from there. So locally, domestically, they're one-day, multiple-site dream experiences. And we have business owners that help release that dream and reconnect that voice. And so we bring in women pilots, such as LaShonda Holmes, who Cyan created a wonderful video to share today, and we couldn't get it formatted, but you can see it on the Girls Fly website. When she heard LaShonda Holmes' journey from being knocked down, in foster care, getting picked back up again, abuse in foster care, getting sent to multiple homes, getting picked back up again, making her way to an institution similar to Pitzer, getting supported there, and then she became the first African-American woman pilot for the U.S. Coast Guard. And she just finished her first term as a White House fellow working with the director of NASA, and she's a Girls Fly spokesperson. And so we bring these types of relationships at every level together, domestically and again internationally. By the time we got to the 40-year-olds, that night at the dinner, it was so emotional and painful for them that they couldn't talk. So I said, don't cry, we'll come back to you. Just think about it, we'll come back. Got to the 50-year-olds, and it was a strange answer, present and past tense. I used to dream for myself, but I no longer do, of being or doing this, but now I dream that my children will be able to. By the time we got to the 60-year-olds, it was not only past tense, but past tense 2 generations. I no longer think it's possible for me, and I used to dream of this for me. I used to dream of for my children, who most of them are in their 40s by then, but now I dream that my grandchildren will be able to do. So Girls Fly is an intergenerational experience. When we went back to the 40-year-old and asked, what did you want to do when you were her age, the younger girl's age that you're enjoying this evening with, they immediately knew. Their enthusiasm came back, their freedom, their confidence, their assurance. The emotional breakdown in the moment was, how did they get so far over here that they were disconnected with here? And how do they get back? And keep in mind, these are women who, by outward standards, are considered very accomplished. The speechwriter for the U.S. Surgeon General, the head of cardiology at the local hospital, the editor-in-chief of the local newspaper, these are very accomplished women whose dream jobs are what many women and girls would aspire to, but there was this disconnect. So what we do when we have our Girls Fly experience is that the registration is based on the answer to only one question. Of these dream experiences on this date, at this time, at this place, what have you always dreamed of doing? And when they show up, we eliminate, and it just happens quite organically, very naturally. It eliminates where you went to school, what you drive, what you wear, who your daddy was, all of that stuff is not irrelevant, because they show up as heads of department, stay-at-home moms with MBAs and degrees where their dreams are now being good mothers, but there's this disconnect happening. And at that moment, in that place, we have fathers bring their daughters. We have sons bring their mothers. We have coworkers bring other coworkers. And it's all because the conversation is completely focused around, I wasn't the only one that had this dream. And now I get to go up in a plane, meet all these pilots from the Women's Aviation Society, from private pilots, commercial pilots. We've had Southwest and United Airlines send pilots. The girls, the women go up in the planes. They're in the cockpit. They're there shoulder to shoulder, being told not only can you do it, not only must you keep believing that you can do it, but here's some resources, including me, to help make sure that you make it happen. And that's why being here at Pitzer is so significant, and that Mrs. Obama's acknowledgement by writing the foreword to the Girls Fly Dream Journal also validates at every level the amount of support and effort that's being placed out in the world on behalf of women and girls. So again, thank you so much. The recognition and the honor actually is not mine. It's listening to the voices and paying attention to those around me, and a heartfelt, compassionate purpose that I believe that God's called me to do, and to do it well. Thank you.
All right, folks, we got one last thing, and this, thank you, Gail, for sharing your heart, for sharing your story. So, as she said there, and as many of you may know, Mrs. Obama, Michelle Obama, is writing the foreword to the Girls Fly Dream Journal workbook. The goal of Girls Fly in 2017 is to place 1 million of these workbooks in the hands of women and girls to help them remember that they can dream, to help them structure their dreams, to help them pursue their dreams. And as part of President and Mrs. Obama's engagement with Girls Fly, the White House has sent over some remarks. You can find the full message posted on the girlsfly.org website. But to close out, here are some remarks from the White House. They say, "Greetings. This is from, my name is David Johns, Executive Director for the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for African Americans. Greetings also from Lauren Mims, Assistant Director for the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for African Americans. On behalf of our President, Barack Hussein Obama, and our fabulous First Lady, Michelle Robinson Obama, and all our colleagues throughout the Department of Education and the federal government. We want to congratulate Gael Sylvia Pullen for her leadership of Girls Fly, and all those who are gathered here today to celebrate women and girls. The President and the First Lady developed the Let Girls Learn initiative to ensure that every country advances their education. The way that we advance education is through working with girls directly. When you teach a girl, you teach a family. For this reason, all of us are thankful for you gathering today. We thank you for your commitment to finding multiple ways to teach and support the learning and development of girls so that they can grow to become strong women who continue to lead and to learn. We will continue to do all that we can to ensure that we remain committed in the joint efforts of having all girls learn. Again, we say thank you to each of you who have gathered here today to acknowledge the efforts and celebrate the progress being made by Girls Fly and opportunities to support learning and development for girls around the world. We're sorry that we couldn't be there with you in person today, but we sincerely thank you for the examples of partnership reflected in this gathering. So everybody make some noise for Girls Fly, for the partnership with the White House Initiative for Excellence, for African Educational Excellence, and for Pitzer College, for the city of Claremont, and for yourselves for being part of this partnership. That's all, guys. Thank you.